Maybe that's better. Perfect. All right. What are we gonna do today? So this, first of all, what is downloading? Rocket League? I don't care about you. Landscaping. All right. Let's try this. I'm gonna like pop out this chat window. So annoying. All right, whatever. Just gonna have to deal. Just gonna have to deal with it. It is what it is, right? All right, so hey, I wanted to start, hang on a second here. Let's move this too. So I'm gonna do something in Blender real quick. This just came up like 10 minutes ago in my Discord. Where is it? Yeah. So flip normals, right? Let's make a new cube here. I wanna show how this all works. All right, and then I'm just gonna make this like a little bit wonky so we can kind of see what's going on here. All right, so let's just say this is a shape of something that we want to put into our game. I'm gonna show you what you need to do first. So we have our shape here, right? And let's just say, for instance, this is what we want to get into Unreal. And my Unreal Engine is being a pain in the butt. I meant to have more time to prepare, and I also haven't been on this computer in like a week. What is even going on here? Initializing what? Anyway. So this is like a few things that you should always check before you export a model. So the first thing, let's I'm gonna go up here, right? And then in this little viewport overlays, I don't even know if you can see this. How small it is. I should be able to see it. Let's look. Oh, let's do this. This is better. So up here at the top, there's this little overlays thing. There's a bunch of options here. This is not something you probably want to have on all the time, but there's this thing that says face orientation. And if you click that on, we can see now that the mesh has turned to like a reddish color. Red is bad in this case. Everything we see here should be blue. So if we go into edit mode, we can then select like an individual face. And if we hit Alt plus N, we get this normals menu. And then we just want to say flip. And now we notice that it's blue, which blue is good. Blue is what we want. And I'm gonna do just one side of this. And hopefully by then my Unreal Engine has finished updating. We could also do this in 5.3. So I'm gonna do the same thing, Alt plus N, and say flip. And now just this side is blue, but everything else is red. And when I export this, so I'm gonna say export to FBX, and I'll just put it on my desktop so that way I know where to go. And we'll say normals example. So just a selected object. Here, Y forward is what I always do, just so it has the same orientation as Blender. I think actually you could, I think you even want like X minus forward or something, but I just do it this way. And then we'll export this. And now we have that model. So let's open up 5.3. I'm just gonna open up one of these that we've been using. Where is it? Interact system. This is the one we've been using for like everything. It's gonna take a while. Yeah, so I meant to start the stream at 9, and some stuff comes up. You know, life, when you got kids and family and stuff, things happen. Then I was like, all right, I'll just push it to 9:30, and then that snuck up on me too, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna wing it. We're just gonna wing it today. I still feel like the music is like too loud. Am I just being an old man? It's like as low as I can make it. How's that? That's probably fine. Maybe it's too quiet now. Unreal Engine's opening up. Why are you so slow? Anyway, yeah, so it's been a while since I've done a stream. I think I was just definitely burning myself out a little bit, you know, burning the candle at both ends. I had some side projects that I was working on as well that are kind of wrapped up now. And I think I was just stretching myself a little bit too thin, and just, you know, sometimes you just got to step away for a little bit and kind of reset your brain. But hoping to start streaming again a little bit more often, maybe every other week or so. I got some new videos coming out soon. I'm also working on a new course, so I know the game development basics course I finished up around the beginning of the year. But I started that course almost 2 years ago. So unfortunately, it's like just a little bit outdated at this point, which is crazy because it's like 2 years isn't that long, but like in software development world, that's like an eternity. So working on an updated course. Also, this is like, that was my first course that I had ever made for game development. So I learned a lot. I've gotten some really good feedback from a lot of the people who have gone through it. I think there was definitely a point where I guess it got significantly harder, and I think a lot of people lose interest at that point also, interestingly, which some of that might just be normal, like people kind of falling off, losing interest in general. Some of it could be maybe people just weren't interested in the project that we make in week 5. But it definitely like see a sharp decline after week 5. So kind of taking some of the lessons from that and trying to do better, make a better course, which, you know, had to learn sometime, right? You live, you learn. But yeah. So working on the new course, I think there's a lot of, it's going to be a little bit more, I think one of the mistakes I made with the first course was like the first 2 weeks are a little bit too easy. And I probably could have put a little bit more information in those and challenged people a little bit more And then weeks 3 and 4 really seemed to be like a sweet spot where people start to get it. They start to like, they're interested in the project that we're making. And like really a lot of people seem to latch on to that haunted house project. And it feels like that was the point where I was doing things right. And then after that, I think I started losing people again. So I'm trying to take that as a lesson learned too, that, you know, we could do better. So let's go to Unreal Engine now. And everything's so small, so I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger. You need to go away. All right. So I just want to import that shape that we just made. Normal's example. All right. So here you might also want to make some checks. I don't know if Keek. Sure. I don't know if they're even here, but basically you do want to make sure you're checking some of these. Like a lot of these you maybe need to do some research on, but like this one specifically, import normals. You can say compute normals if you want. We're gonna just keep it as it is because I want to show you kind of what's up with this mesh now. So we made this mesh. If I turn off this view of face orientation, it looks normal. Like nothing really looks off about it. If you were to put a texture on this, you would be able to see it. But if you're just like trying to block something out in Blender, it looks good right now. But when we put it into our level, you'll notice it looks a little bit off. Let's put it over here. And when we, whoa, come on, man. What are you doing here? When we press play, we can go walk over to it. Now look, like I'm seeing through it, right? I'm seeing like stuff that I shouldn't see. And then when I go to this side, it looks like this side looks correct. But I can also see like the back side of that. I can see like the inside of it, right? So essentially what you need to do, this is a check you should do anytime you export something from Blender. And also I'll show you something else too. This one looks kind of like we can see down here at the base, it looks good because we have this world grid material on it. Everything looks right. And then here, it just looks like kind of bad. If we were to like put, like if I open up this and then change out the material. Also, this computer is going really slow. You guys should let me know if things aren't going right. Let's do one of the ones from like let's do brick, because I think you'll really be able to see it with brick. Let's go to this side. So down here at the bottom, we can see like the brick looks like brick, although it's like giant bricks. Here, at where we like made it inset a little bit, it still looks okay, but not great. Also, like the lines of the brick don't line up. But then look up here, it's just like really stretched. Over here, really, really stretched. Inside of here, you can't go inside it. Like everything just doesn't look good after that, right? Really, the base is the only part that looks good, and that's because the base is like the only thing that was part of the original cube. So how do we fix all this, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is fix that normals issue. So again, if we go here to our overlays, viewport overlays, select face orientation, we can see that we got those blues that we made and the rest is red. So let's go to edit mode and then select A to select everything, and then Alt N and then flip. Now we flipped everything else except for those ones that we flipped. So I'm gonna select those ones now and Alt N and say flip again, and now everything's blue. So blue is good, red is bad. So now everything on our model has the correct normals like look. the next thing I want to do is I want to fix that weird stretching. So there's a few different ways you can do this. Let's turn off this. So the way that I usually like to do it is the texture, like if you've ever worked with UVs, you know, it's like if this were a piece of candy or a present that I was trying to wrap for someone, I want to think of like, what is the shape of the wrapping paper that would encompass this thing? And you need it to be like pieces that can be broken up. So we also want to create some seams. So I'm going to select this face here because this looks like a good place to create a seam. Let's hit Alt E. Control E? Yeah, Control E. And then say mark seam. And notice now there's like this red line there. And then I want to do the same on the bottom. Control E, mark seam. And then we need one more seam because right now we have a flat bottom and a flat top. If we were to think of this like a cylinder, the top and the bottom are going to be correct, but like how do we unwrap the rest in a way that makes sense? So we need one seam that kind of like runs up the middle. So I usually pick one, it depends on your model, one that's going to be like kind of out of the way. So I'll click this right here, Control E again, mark seam, and now everything can be unwrapped. So I'm going to hit A for all, and this is in edit mode, and then U for unwrap. And if you have, there's a, what's it called? Unwrap. Maybe it's just like baked in now. It used to be an add-on. I started learning Blender during COVID and haven't like really been keeping up on it. So I'm not like fully aware of all the new things, but you can select unwrap. I'll show you what this does. So if we go to UV editing, we can see like this doesn't really look good. If we were to put a texture on this, it's going to be like all weird. So maybe also what we want to do is create another seam here. Or we don't even need to do that. What I can do is I can say, I'm going to do U for unwrap. You can also unwrap individual pieces. So like we know we want like these four to kind of line up because they're all like on the same plane of brick. So I'm going to say unwrap, and I want to rotate them 90 degrees. Put it over here. And then if I consider like this, all should be kind of on the same plane, right? So I can say unwrap here, and then what is that? Let's rotate it again. 90. Oh, we're good there. Yeah, so we have everything but this bottom plane here. And then this one. And then these two we can unwrap. Those probably need to be scaled down a little bit, and I think that's fine. And then these four should be unwrapped together. Now we'll select all, and maybe these two we can put over here. Nope. What is that? These two? Again, not a pro at this, right? Everything looks good there. What are you? Is this the bottom? Yeah. What is this? This one? Yeah. Let's just unwrap that. What is this one? Actually, I think I want like these four to be smaller. Now this. Again, I just want to preface that this is not an area where I am an expert, so no one needs to grill me, right? All right, so now everything's unwrapped, and I think we're probably fine, but let's just, let's select this. I want to re-export it. And we're just gonna leave it the same. And now here in Unreal Engine, we can just right click on it and say asset actions. Nope. Oh, re-import. Boom, look at that. Now it looks way better. I mean, we could still do some work to it. One thing that might help is taking this brick texture. Where is it? This one. We can export this. Just throw it on the desktop. And then here, we can go to shading. And then add image. Image texture. Open that one on our desktop. So this will actually really help us with those normals now. So first thing I want to do is make everything bigger, because that looks ridiculous. We could also do this through Unreal Engine, but like up here, these bricks, so where was that? These four. Look at that. All right, that looks a little bit better. So you could really tweak this if you wanted to. This is just as an example, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. But these are definitely things you want to be checking before you export things to Unreal Engine. That normals thing is, I think, probably what your issue was if you're watching, not sure. But also, and I think in the video you shared, let's see if this one will work on this computer. Yeah, the second video doesn't, oh, there it goes. Yeah, from the second video, I can actually see now. I think maybe it's the normals. Although, maybe not. The video like isn't loading. The collision is reversed? I don't know. Are you making the collision in Unreal Engine or in Blender? I don't know. Anyway. If you're here, we can, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. But like here, the collision, like, I'll show you. I don't want this anymore. Actually, I'll leave it open. Why is this taking for ages? Like, see how I can't walk underneath it? So if I go to this collision, now there's like a few different ways you can solve this problem. What I like to do first is just remove collision. That way there's no collision at all. And then you could do a few different things. You can go down here to your collision. And if you probably want to block all because it's like a building. But you can say simple and complex, simple collision as complex, complex as simplex. For something like this is probably what you want. It's not too complex. Like if we do show collision, like there's not like a ton of collision, so this probably isn't going to be like a performance hit if we use the complex collision. If you had something like super complex, like even like a character model that has like thousands of vertices, you probably don't want to do this, but this one's pretty simple. And then now when I go to my game, I should be able to walk under it, but I can't walk through it still. And if I have jump, let's push one of these things over. I can jump, I can like walk up here too. So that might be what you need. I'm not sure. Just check your collision channels. Why is my jump so weird too? What is wrong with you? Alright, this project is becoming a monstrosity. It's just like my sandbox for everything. This is insane. What are we doing here? This is the project I was trying to work on today. I was working on my other computer and I'm trying to download the changes, but apparently there's a lot of them. So what else is here? Oh, we could try this one. This is, so in the new course, this will be the first video we work on, or the first project we work on. Which reminds me, I wonder if this one needs to be updated too. So this is the, I'm working on this new course. It's going to be 8 weeks again. This will be the first game that we make, and it's this is just a prototype, so I haven't recorded the videos yet. So the way I usually like to build, how I've built my courses, and I did this with the last one, I'm doing it with this one, seems to be a really good thing, is I kind of write what I want the content to be, so like what should be in the course, and then create all the slides and everything that I show as part of the course, and then I build the projects in the order that the lessons go through. And this actually a lot of times helps me understand if I'm kind of skipping things or like pushing things too fast or like in the wrong order. And then once I have the prototype, then I start over from scratch and rebuild the game a second time, which is why it takes so long to make these courses. So this one, there's these fires, they will kill me. I can pick up this gun and it shoots. It does shoot water. There we go, look at that. And I could put out these fires. These little barrels will refill my water. And then the way it'll work is once all the fires are put out, you beat that level. So this is the game we're gonna make as part of that course. This will be the first game in the course. And what we do is we're gonna start with the first person example. Let's see what's going on over here. I'm trying to use only, so I have 3 monitors. I have one of them off because people complained a lot about lagging on my stream. So I'm trying to keep one monitor off to hopefully make things easier on my computer, which is weird because my computer is not, I mean, it's a little crappy, but it's not like super crappy. So I might also start streaming from my laptop if that helps. I just bought a brand new laptop that's kind of nuts. So that might help. So essentially what we do in this one, we started with this first person template. So like if you go launch 5.4, of course. Do I need to like reload this? I think it had a pop-up and I didn't select the right thing, so I probably gotta like check my blocked. I'll figure that out later. I broke 5.4. Great. All right. 1 second here. Should be better. Sorry, my family was leaving. I actually don't know. Let's try this. This might work. So essentially we use the first person template, and it comes with like this gun. I made it my own so that we could shoot that water, which wasn't that hard. Really, I just changed the projectile speed, I think, and made it fire more quickly. and then did some code to make it put out these fires. So this will be one of the games that we make in the new course. Yeah. One of the things I hate is like the way that those like default projects are organized. So I end up like spending all this time trying to reorganize them. But I don't think there's that much. So I did put in some health. The jumping is still in there. The move, I didn't change any of this stuff. Just added this. And then the gun. Let's see. That's the same, adding the HUD. So that's the only change I made there. But this weapon component, this is also like a really interesting way to handle this. Oh. You almost went deaf. It's weird, like I couldn't see that you were chatting. I literally couldn't see the chat till just now. I don't even know if these people are still here. U plus cube projection. I could probably open that back up. I don't even know if people are still here. I might be one of the worst streamers of all time. So this I can pop out. That's really helpful. Maybe that's what I needed this whole time. One of these days I'm gonna learn how to actually be a good streamer and you guys are gonna love it. You're gonna be like, oh my God, Jim is so awesome. Until then, you just get to like watch me struggle through all of this stuff. So for this gun, it had this shoot function. I kept some of it, but basically deleted everything else. Everything up here is the same. Yeah. This might be a little advanced for a beginner, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna see if I can break this down at a beginner level. So am I too loud? Oh, I think it was when I switched. The music was loud. Yeah, sorry about that. If Emery, if you're still here, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying thank you. I don't know how long ago that was because I don't know what I'm doing, but it means a lot. So essentially, there was a bunch here in that project. This is interesting. Maybe it won't do it while I'm playing it. I delete everything. So now when we shoot, we start a timer, and when we release it, we clear the timer. And the timer is just calling this function, start firing. And it's just gonna make sure that we have some water. So there's a variable on the gun called water that I added. Otherwise, I think mostly the same. This here, we're getting the socket, which is on the front of the gun. And then spawning a projectile. I think this is actually part of the starter content. I just pulled it into here. And then we decrement the water so that if we run out of water, we stop firing. Now that we have the widget, we can delete that. And then when we hit 0, we call stop. We clear the timer for start firing as well. So this is like pretty straightforward. This stuff over here is part of it. It's creating a sound and a montage. The montage, I think, makes the rifle look like it's shooting. But I think we're gonna leave this out of the beginner course. So yeah, that's how our gun works. And then the projectile I change, so this, yeah, there was like a weird bug that I was dealing with, but essentially this is just making sure that we're not, I might try to find a way to get rid of this for the course, because it's a little bit, it might be overwhelming for someone that's just starting. And we're doing apply damage for when one of these water droplets hits something in the world, and then we destroy the water droplet. That's that. This didn't change. I left this exactly the same. And the fire is like the only, oh, the barrel. So these fires, they have a health component, the same as the player. So this like helps reduce the amount of code that we have to create by using a component for health instead of like creating health variables on every actor. So even though it might seem weird that we're doing damage to the fire with the water, it actually like simplifies the code a little bit, interestingly. So this projectile applies damage of 1, and the fire, when it takes damage, it does the same processing as the player character. So this is like the same block of code. And then is health empty? Again, same block of code. So the fire and the player have like identical code for handling damage. So we only had to code it once, which is like a key part of, you know, having good code. And then there's this overlap, which are these cylinders, which is about the volume of the fire. So when we overlap it, if it's the player, we're gonna start a timer for damaging the player. And then when we end overlap, we'll clear that timer. And we're gonna unset this so we make sure that we stop doing damage. What's going on with this? I feel like at this point it's like stuck. So this is actually the project. I'll show you my GitHub. This was actually the project that I wanted to work on, but it's downloading the entire internet apparently. So one of the things that I can do while we're waiting for that, because I don't even know how long that's going to take, is I wanted part of this game to be like, you got to put out the fires. Oh, we can show this barrel real quick too. The barrel just, oh, this was part of the testing. Oh, I think I left that in because I wanted to show how it works as part of the course to remind me. So for the barrel, we're just gonna do the same thing. We want to check the components again. I probably need to find a better way to do this as well. And then we're basically looking to see if the player has a gun. And if they do, we're gonna reset the water to 100 and then destroy it. What this actually does is prevent us from picking these up if we don't have the gun. So we can pick up this gun, we can use all the water. Should stop. Yep, and then we can pick this up, and now we have full water again. So one of the things I want to do as part of this game, part of the project, is set it up so that the point of the level is to put out all the fires. The point of the game is to put out all the fires in the level. So we could take this game mode here and we can make this be part of the game mode, because remember, the game mode should be like holding the rules to your game. It's like the referee or the dungeon master if you're a nerd like me. Although I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons, I'll just be honest, but I understand it. You're the rule keeper. So in our game mode, let's get a begin play. And really quite simple. We can just say get all actors of class. And this can be the fire. Fires. So now we're holding all, when we start the level, we're getting all of the fires in the world and we're putting that as a variable, essentially. And now every time we put out a fire, which is up here, I want to call a function to put out those fires. Now, controversial, I'm gonna cast. So I'm gonna say get game mode, and we're going to fire escape game mode. We're gonna cast to this game mode. And there's a lot of arguments about whether you should do this. I'm in the camp of who cares. Quite honestly, people could debate me on this. I'm not an expert. I'm doing beginner level tutorials, right? I don't work in game dev. I've been using Unreal Engine for 5 years now, so I know a decent amount, but I don't know everything. But the argument against this is like, now if we go to our fire and we right click and we say reference viewer, like, where is it? That now this BP fire has a reference to game mode, so they're like coupled together essentially. And if we go to size map, we can see like all of these things are part of this. So people argue like you shouldn't do this. My argument is this: the game mode for the game that we're making is always going to be the same. So it's always going to be loaded anyway. Just as part of the way Unreal Engine works, you have to have a game mode in every level. And the first person character is going to be coupled to it, but in this game we're always going to be using the same character, and by default you need to have like a character in your level. Although maybe that might not be true, but I think it is actually true because it's part of the game mode. It loads like your pawn like this right here. Like if this isn't set to something, it'll just load the default. So like the argument could be made like, now this fire is coupled to these things, but my argument is for this game that we're making, they're already going to be in the game, so I don't really care. Like there's never going to be a situation where I'm not using these. So on my game mode, I want to create a new custom event. This is going to be called, I don't know, Fire X. Oh man, now I'm gonna have to know. Extinguished. Sure. think I spelt that right. And in here, I actually want to pass in a variable called BP fire. And this will be an object reference, and this will be fire. And what we could do is get fires and remove item of this fire. And that will take it out of the array. So at the beginning, we're setting this array, and then when a fire is extinguished, we want to take it out. So here in BP fire, we can call fire extinguished, and this will be self. So now this is going to keep track of, so now the game mode is going to be keeping track of how many fires there still are in the world. So another check we might want to do after this is say get length, and if this is less than or equal to 0, we want to branch. You could also like check this. This would actually check to see if that fire was removed. You may get a bug where you go to remove a fire, but then it's like not there. I can't imagine how that would be possible. Actually, I can. If you were having a situation where fires were spawning themselves, so let's say like we created a game where if a fire was on too long, it could like spread and it would create like a new fire somewhere in the vicinity. And part of that would be that that fire would need to add itself to this array. So you could do a check to make sure that that fire was there before you go any further. Because maybe you made a bug in your code to where like a fire could be created, but it wasn't added to the array. So then you try to remove it from the array, but it's not there. And this would give you that check, basically. So we're going to get the length of our array, and if our array is less than or equal to 0, we beat the level. So for things like this, where the gameplay is going to be like the overall game is going to change, like I guess states, like the level is complete, or another example would be like the player has died, like game over would be in a different state, right? I like to create a dispatcher. So I want to create a dispatcher for whenever we get all the fires out. That's like you've beat the level. So let's create a dispatcher called all fires out dispatcher. And I want to call this right after we get this. And the reason I like to do a dispatcher is a dispatcher is like an intercom. So it's going to send a message out to the world. So when we extinguish a fire, we're going to remove it from the array. Then we're going to check our fires array and see if we have any fires left, which would be the false pin. And we could even have this be like print append. This will just be for like debugging. Fires remaining. Fires remaining. So if there is a fire left, we'll just get a little print. We'll delete this eventually, but just to check that what we're doing is correct. So when the last fire is extinguished, we're going to send a message to the world that says all the fires are out. It's essentially like you beat the level. And then from this, multiple things could happen. We could go to our HUD, for instance, and we could create a function here that listens for that dispatcher. And when it dispatches, like maybe we hide all of these other elements that we don't want to be seen anymore. We pop up a new element that's like, hey, you beat the level, good job. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to the next level? Do you want to try again? Do you want to go back to the main menu? But we could have it be listening. The HUD now is listening to the game mode for that event to be triggered. And the benefit of this, like you could also just as easily call this functionality from the game mode, but now the game mode is handling the HUD, which, you know, now those two things are tightly coupled. Maybe that's fine for your game, but I just think in this case, it's a better practice to just send out a dispatcher. Let's say also like let's imagine another scenario, right? In our game, let's say that there's enemies that are coming after us. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something. Throwing Molotov cocktails at us. And we want there to be a condition where once all the fires are out, like the level is over. So we may want to send a message to those enemies, like you beat the level, so they stop doing what they're doing. Like they're gonna stop chasing us or something like that. I'm just dreaming up a weirder game than what we already have here. In that case, the dispatcher, all of those enemies could be listening for this, and they know when I hear this, I'm done. Like, it's it. Or game over also, right? Like, if the player dies, we also probably want them to stop doing what they're doing. So you could have like a game over dispatcher sent from your game mode as well that says like, hey, everything, like stop what you're doing, the game's over, like we're good. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna do here. And just to show that, let's, we already are doing this. So let's get game mode. And then I'm gonna cast it to fire escape game mode. Again, in my game, this is the only game mode that we're ever gonna be loading when there's this HUD. So I'm okay with doing this. If you're not, that's okay for you too. I want to, now I don't necessarily need to set this as a variable because I'm only gonna have it do one thing, I think. Actually, maybe we do, because what if we also want it to something on our HUD that tells us how many fires are remaining, right? Like maybe up here, we could do a text. Fires. So now this is gonna keep track of how many fires are remaining. Again, there is an argument that could be made, like now we've coupled this isn't great for performance. It's also not terrible for performance. Like I know the game that we're making here, and I know that like this isn't gonna be a huge drawback for our game. So I don't care that much. But a way you may want to do this instead, if you're trying to be like more conscious of performance, is again going back to dispatchers. Every time there's a fire extinguished, we could create another dispatcher that says fire extinguished dispatcher. call that here. And then in your HUD, you could have it fire extinguished. Nope, that's not the one I want. Fire extinguished dispatcher. So we're going to bind an event. And then we could do custom event. Fire out. I'm getting bored typing. And then we could create a variable called fires remaining, and this would be integer. Let's do this. Fires length set. I'm going to show both. All right. I'm going to show that they both work basically, and then you can pick the one that you want. Get minus minus. So now this could be handling its own variable. Get text. Game mode. Binding. And then we can duplicate this. What do I want to do? $150. All right, so this one is bound to the game mode, and this one will be bound to direct. They should both say the same thing. Fires remaining. Pick this up, put out a fire. Forgot to do something. Fire extinguished. Fire out. What did I do wrong? The second one's not working. Fires remaining 4. Fire extinguished, dispatcher, fire out. Fires remaining -4. What is wrong? Why isn't this working? I was basically like, I'm gonna show you they both work, and then one doesn't work. Is it that they're not bound correctly? Fires remaining direct. Fires remaining 4. Where's that coming from? Here? Yeah. I mean, the top one's working, so that's right. Right, this one is direct. This one is... Let's try this. Maybe this isn't being called. Print. Let's make it red. Yeah, this never gets called. Game mode. Target. Oh. There we go. Figured it out. There we go. All right. So now we can get rid of this. And so they both work. They'll both go to 4 when I put a fire out. So it really just, for a game like this, I don't think it matters that much. If you are trying to do things like the more industry accepted way, I guess is a good way to say it, this way is probably better. Because I think more things should be handled like, I think doing things through dispatchers is good as long as you can kind of like grasp what's happening. So like, I think it's fine for like you to have tons of dispatchers, like, and the dispatcher should be sending information into the world, and then each individual piece kind of handles that information, and then they're only listening to the information that they need. I think you could probably make an argument that this is just as equally coupling. Like, the idea is that things aren't tightly coupled, but my argument is like, how is this not coupled? Like, it's just as coupled still. And I would also like make an argument like, how would you do this without coupling it? I think you would need to have a pretty... You need to know a lot more about programming than I do. I'll just say it that way. I can't think of a way to do this without doing that. For mine, I think I do like using the second version. I think it's a little bit more robust. So I'm gonna put this at minus 50, nope, 50. And I wanna make it a little bit bigger. It's a little small. Put that one out, and it updated. Let's get some water. 3, 2, get some water. 1. Fires remaining 0, and at this point, this other dispatcher will be firing, and we can listen for this one in our HUD as well. So let's pull off this. I don't think so. Now I also don't need this. This song always like this is like it's like a royalty-free mix on YouTube. All fires. And this one like always makes me laugh a little bit. It's just like so cheesy to me, right? I did find another mix I think I like a little bit better too. Let's try this one. little bit better pace. All right, so now we'll create another custom event. This will be called like level jerk. Level complete. And so now we can handle a bunch of functionality in here. For instance, is this text fires remaining? And this one's bar health, this one's bar water. So we can just do a set visibility. I understand HUD better with the stream. Yeah. Hey, Unseen. Thank you for watching the tutorials. I hope they've been helpful. I hope you're learning a lot. I understood HUD a lot better with this stream. I personally feel like widgets are so tedious and like they take so much work, but like it's a huge part of your game. Like you basically can't get away from them in Unreal Engine. In any game engine. There's even a dude who I saw him on Reddit. Maybe it's a team of people, but I remember seeing when he first started making his game. He made a game using only widgets, which sounds like absolute hell. That sounds like my nightmare. But he did it, and it's on. I think he's releasing it on Steam. I'm gonna look for it now. Widget only game UE5. Made an entire game with a single. Where is this guy? Posts. So this guy. UE5 widget game. All right. I found like the original post, but I can't find his later post. But anyway, he made an entire game using only widgets. So let's grab this. Let's grab this, and let's grab this. And we're gonna put all these as hidden when our level is complete. So I'll show you what this looks like. And then we wanna have another menu pop up. So this, that, get some water. And now the screen went blank, right? Which is what we wanted. So now we want to do a few other things. The first thing, let's create a new widget called level complete. And in here, what do we want? We want probably a vertical box. This can be the container for everything. And I will do desired. And let's put some text in here that says, let's make this nice and big. Now let's do another vertical box. This is gonna hold like some buttons for options. This one will be next level. Get a spacer. And then I'm just going to copy, paste. Let's make these, I don't need this one, I guess. Let's make these a little bit bigger. Let's go with 5 to 10. All right, so this one is going to be levels. All right, let's do restart level. This one will be main menu. All right. Complete right there in the middle. And I want to hide it right on begin play. I don't want to be able to see it. So we can even probably use like pre-construct and say level complete, set visibility to hidden, and then show these over here. So now we're going to hide all this stuff, and then we're going to show this. So let's see if this works. It should, unless I mess something up. Why is the fires remaining 2? -2. What the heck? Maybe this doesn't work. I might have like just inserted a bug. Let's get rid of that. What did I do? What did I break? Why does this break my game? That's what I don't understand. Does it work now? What did I do? Broke something. Did I delete the wrong one? No. Like it was just working. Am I crazy? Get fires direct binding. So why is, oh, I did break it. There was something here that I deleted that I should not have. Get fires, get length, no, just length. And then set. This was there and I deleted it. That's what I did. All right, let's make some more space. There we go. All right, now I can put this back in. Nope. All right, fires remaining 5. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, get some Vasa. 1. Level complete. We did it. All right, now we want to handle some more things. So like that level complete. So we sent this dispatcher out. What we also want to do is get player controller, set show mouse cursor. Set input UI only. This will give us the ability to click on those options. And then in HUD, no, in level complete. For now, let's set these up. So let's say on click, next level, isn't gonna do anything. Restart level is probably the easiest one because we can just say get current level name. Open level by name. Oh, probably should stop the shooting. It's just gonna keep going forever. All right. Player controller. We could also have, like if we wanted to, we could have the player controller listen to those dispatchers. And instead of like doing this here on the game mode, we could have the player controller handle it. So let's do that. Because I also want, like on begin play, I want to do the opposite of this. Set show mouse cursor. Input mode. I think I want this one. I'm gonna leave these down here because I'm gonna use those for that dispatcher. Get game mode. Fire escape game mode. All fires out dispatcher. Now we're having the player controller handle its own behavior, which means we can delete this from here. What did I do? Set show mouse cursor. There we go. All right. Put this fire out. Put this fire out. Oh, I also need to stop that timer. Restart level. And here we go again. So this is on the gun. UI only. So we also need the gun now to listen to that dispatcher. What a pain. All right. How's my download coming along? Oh my God. What is this? All right. It's downloading the game that we actually intended to work on. So let's see what else we can do on this. Let's make a main menu. Save all. New level. Empty level. It's downloading the other game. Let's do this. Save current level as. We need a new game mode. here in my, we're just gonna call this camera. I'm gonna call this nothing. All right. Where's my, which direction's forward? This one? Let's put a fire right in front of this baby. Oh, so game mode override, main menu game mode. There's just a fire. No, nothing else, just fire. Let's make it a little bit closer. Or a little bit bigger. Nothing but fire. It's too big. If we have some light, then we'll be able to see the smoke. So let's do that. Player start, BP fire. This is coming along well. All right, let's do widget BP widget BP main. Oh, this widget stuff, man, it's killing me. It's like easily the most tedious and boring part of game dev to me. Fire escape. Could also have it be like a burning building, but I'm not trying to put too much more into this. This is also like literally a throwaway project because we're going to remake it as part of the course. So this is just like almost like a proof of concept. Before we get started on the actual game. Got some fire. All right, and for this, we just wanted to load the first level. I think it's called level 1. There we go. I gotta fix that. But for this, we can now do this one. So now that one should be working. And how's my other game coming? Oh my god. So long. Forever. The only one that's not working now is this next level, but we need more levels, and then we need to write the code to figure out what the next level is, which will take some time. Like, that's kind of a big undertaking. I mean, there's hacky ways to do it. Like, for instance, in our game mode, we could create a variable called next level and like literally just pull it from that. But even that, we would then need to pass that in when we're spawning the level. We could do it in the, like, the ultimate way it would do it would be in the, like, a game instance where we'd pass in, like, the function would be in the game instance where it would figure out what our current level is and then what would be the next level. We could use like an array of levels and find the next index. We could do it by the name. Yeah, there's multiple ways to do it. I'm gonna take a quick break. I think when I switch views, it's going to hurt everyone's ears. So let me stop the music for a second. And then go like this. All right. So now we should be able to start the game, beat the level, go back to the main menu. All right, so that's all working. Do want to fix that stupid thing with the gun. It's not this one though. It's like fire escape game mode. Fires out. And then custom. Clear timer. Got it. All right, so that's working. How's this download coming? Good God. I don't understand because like, I think the game is downloaded, but there's like a weird thing with GitHub where I'll show you. Like I could see all the files are here, but it's like still pulling them down. I don't get it. All right. So that's good. Let's make another level. I'm just gonna use some box brushes to block everything out. frozen at minus 1050. This one should be 1050. All right, we're losing. All right. So let's do another box brush here. Actually, I want this to be taller. All right. And then, let's make this like a door. Let's make 2 doors. Which door will it be? And there's different fires on each side. I like it. We're awesome. Fire. We need this gun in here. All right, let's try this. Can't fit. What the heck? All right, these actually got to be 150, I'm guessing. Why can't I? There we go. Let's put a roof on this thing. How wide is this? 2,000 by 3,000. Is it dark in there? How did I do it on the other one to make it so dark? Oh, it's because it's not a box brush. It's actually a mesh. Let's finish our level design first. Do we want to have like a little wall there? All right, let's think about this. So we wanted the player to have to do it in like a certain order, right? So like you gotta go get, maybe let's say they have to start in here, right? So we need some more fires, and this one needs to be bigger. Because one of the problems is if the fires aren't big enough, you can actually like walk through them without dying. Like that almost killed me, which is what we want. So the green bar is the health. So like if we walk, like we almost die, and then we do die. I guess we could do the game over condition. It's more of the same. Oh, this is done. Should we switch gears? Should we do this game for a little bit? I think I want to switch to this one because the fire escape game is fun, but like there's not that much left to do. Like we could finish this level, I guess. My idea kind of being like you have to maybe you got to do one side first, right? Like this is where you get extra water, so you got to like put out these fires. And this is where the water is. Not really sure why you went up there, but and then you gotta go get the, and then you can put out the other fires or something. I don't know. Just thinking. So let's save all. This is gonna be level 2. Let's open up our other game. It's called like, what is going on here? It's because a pop-up came up, but I was like in the middle of something and I hit escape. So I need to go find this. Where do I install these usually? riveting content. What is even downloading right now? Rocket League? Could you stop Unreal Engine? Where are you? All right, let's try to find this stupid thing. This is like, so like, this is where Unreal Engine is. I've never actually had to do this, but like, this is it. Editor. Article is less than helpful. Locate Epic Games Launcher, right click on it. Already did that. Like, where is Unreal Engine in here? Maybe this will work. Black screen? Oh. What? This is wild. This is literally the game. But that's strange that it would open like that. Open. Well, that worked. All right. So yeah, this in the new course I'm building, this will be the second project that we make. So Fire Escape is the first one. That's weeks 1 and 2. This is weeks 3 and 4. Might bleed into 5. Depends on. There's a lot to do in 2 weeks. So I'm not like 100% sure that we can do it all in 2 weeks. But one of the things I want to start building is like an inventory system, which again means I got to do some widgets. Got to do like an inventory widget. I'm also thinking like, I don't really know what I would make this if like this was a complete game. I feel like wave-based shooters like this, or like I almost want it to be a game where you have to like explore, I guess. Like not just have like a confined level that you're trying to defend. Like I had this idea of like, if this is our level, starting area, maybe there's a couple waves and then you gotta like run off over here, collect some loot, maybe just a couple random enemy encounters, and then you get to like another area like this, and then it's like defeat a couple more waves. But it's not just like confined, it's more like, do the insect animations belong to you? Like, did I make them? No, I used this guy. Ooh. Too many projects, I know. So this company, Protofactor, they have a lot of really interesting stuff. And this is so like around Christmas time, there was some crazy sales on the marketplace. And I got this pack that has like a few different animal. This one's kind of creepy. This one's like super weird. I want to use that one. And then this one's like the kind of like the one in Starship Troopers, I guess. A little flying bugger. They like make some really like terrifying. If you go to Protofactor, got like a pretty good mixture of stuff. So actually I bought like a few, like I bought this one. I think I have this one in another pack. But the cool thing, the reason I like this company is because everything is animated, and they have like quite a few animations, like more than you would, unless you're doing something crazy, you're gonna have everything you need. They just have like such a wide variety of little creatures. I feel like you could find like, yeah, they even have like life-like ones, and they have these packs. This is what I like. Like these packs will have like multiple animals. These ones, I have this one in, I think, because I bought some of these on Unity too. So I have some of these in like that one. Like this thing's creepy as hell. But even this sale, like, first of all, this is worth it because look, you get 7, I can't count, 8 different creatures in this pack. This one looks like a Murloc from World of Warcraft. Got this like crab looking one. This one's weird. It looks like a whale. But they're all animated too. So like if I go, why is this being weird? Close fire escape. So if I go here, this one has 5. This is that weird brain looking thing. But all the animations are in here. Like there's like 20, 30 animations. So the packs are really good. If you're just like a solo dev that's just trying to make like a fun game, it's really good. But the character is from Mixamo. Oh, another wave started. I forgot about that. So what do I want to do with this one? I wanted to get started at least on an inventory system. So what I'm thinking is, for now, I don't know. I guess we could start with like the basics, right? So like, I think we're gonna need some type of container. I've been reading a little bit about these data assets. Data asset. Pick a class for data asset. That's not what I thought I was gonna see. Let's start over. Data only blueprint. What is that? Data. So essentially this could be used to like store information. Tire type. Data layer. All right, I need to read a little bit more about this, but we can also create like an actor component that holds the inventory, and this would allow us to like move it around. So like in here, we can hold a variable. I wonder if this is what I need. Data asset. What is this? No, this is not what I want. So let's create, I'm gonna create a struct that holds like my item information. And I want item name. Let's create a data table also. Yeah. DT item table. The reason I like to do this pretty much right off the bat is because I think it helps me to like visualize what each of these should be called. Like row name, this can be changed to something, and this is like ultimately like how we would search for information. But we could also have an item name, because these can't have spaces. Like, yeah, see, it's not a valid space name. So this needs to be like camel case or Pascal case or something, whatever case you want, but no spaces. So the item name can be like a more free form type name. And then we want probably a item class. What is this? Item used to share a specific item across the graph. BP item. Oh, I want that to be class reference. So a name, a class. I also like to do like is stackable. Things like health packs and ammo and blah blah blah. And then we need an amount if we're doing that. And we can add to this. For this course though, we don't want to get like too crazy. But like, then item info. This would be an array. And then we would just like have some functions to add and remove things from our array, but this is like step 1. What else do I want to do? Whatever. So in an inventory, what do we want? We want the ability to like pick up an item. Drop an item. Depending on our inventory, we may want to move an item within the inventory. This will require a little bit of, I don't want to say advanced, but it gets a little tedious. The problem with inventories is like each one is a little bit different. So like I can show in the course how to make an inventory system, but like it's just one implementation. Like there's a million different games and each one has its own way to handle like player inventory. So. Oh, that's the music. I was like, what is that? What is that clicking? Anyway. So for now, let's just set up picking up and dropping. And we are going to have to create some widgets, unfortunately, which is super annoying and not fun. What's our HUD look like? Just the ammo? Also, like, do we want the inventory to be like inventory. That's not how you spell that. Do we want the like, let's visualize this for a second. I'm gonna start with a vertical box, horizontal box. Where are you? Text. That says inventory. And then we got this vertical box. And really or this horizontal box, really what I want is, I want to be able to like set the row like width, I guess. Let's like conceptualize this first. Let's just put the building blocks together. I do need one more widget, I know, and I probably want two, because I have an idea in mind of how I want to do this. But WBP inventory, I cannot spell that word today, item. And this is just gonna, for now, have an image. We're gonna work on this more. What's the size of this? 32, cool. Inventory. And then here, let's call this inventory item. There's 4. Let's put some padding on that. Can I not put padding? Do I need a border? There we go. Starting on week 5. That's when it gets hard. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, hey Danilo Barbosa. Welcome to this boring stream about creating inventory widgets. It's hilariously fun in every way. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of feedback on the course, so I'm actually, the thing is, like, the course is now basically 2 years old, which is crazy that that's outdated, but unfortunately it is in the world of software development. So when I started that course like 2 years ago, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, hey, there should be a course. Hey, Martin. There should be a course on YouTube that does this. And so I just started making it, and I kind of didn't know what I was doing, if I'm being completely honest. But I did it, and I think it was mostly a success. I've gotten like generally good feedback. Like 95% of the feedback I get is good and positive. Like, thank you, I appreciate it. The Discord has been growing. There's a lot of people that like have now finished the course or are like further into the course that have like started helping others, which I really appreciate because I don't really have like all the time in the world to help. So I appreciate that. But the biggest feedback that I've gotten that's like negative, and negative might even be too harsh. Is that it gets really hard in week 5, like kind of too hard. So I've been trying to like think of like what I could have done better, and yeah, basically. So I'm trying to redo the course. I'm taking some of the lessons I learned. I'm taking a lot of the feedback. Another feedback that I got about week 5 was that the project isn't really that fun. So I'm doing that. So yeah, right now I'm working on a new course. This is one of the levels. This is one of the games that we make. So we got this little person and we gotta kill these aliens. Those purplish ones are really fast. And then they die, and then another wave will start. And it's like a wave-based shooter. I want to put some more into it. I think wave-based shooters kind of get boring and like repetitive, and you get to a point where you've like kind of like mastered it. And then it's just a grind, right? So I have some ideas on how to like improve on that concept, but the course I'm working on will be making this project as part of it. And yeah, I do have some tips. My biggest tip is take my course. So I do have a free blueprints course on YouTube. It's 100% free. It starts with the very, very basics. I'm gonna try to find it while I'm talking. It starts with like the very, very basics of game development and the very, very basics of Unreal Engine, and kind of builds up. It's 8 weeks of content. So the idea is that you do like a week at a time. And does that work? Does this link work? Cool. You basically take like 1 week at a time and kind of like figure it out. But the feedback I've gotten is really good. The thing that I'm kind of talking about right now is like weeks 1 through 4 seem like most people kind of can follow along, and like the content is generally pretty easy to follow. And then like when you get to week 5, it kind of, the skill level ramps up a little bit too fast. And I mean, I appreciate the feedback. So to be fair though, it kind of worked as intended. And like my idea was like by week 5, you should be starting to understand a lot of the content. And I wanted to kind of take the training wheels off a little bit, like let you try to figure out, let you try to be a little bit more like independent and try to think through problems on your own. And I think I just did that too quickly. Like it was there and it works, but like not as well as I wanted it to. And I've also gotten some feedback that like weeks 1 and 2 are maybe like too easy. They could have used a little bit more content. So weeks 3 and 4 really seem to be like this sweet spot for people, like where people are starting to like figure it out. They're building their confidence. They're starting to like try things and, you know, make the project their own. I've gotten some really cool like community projects. Week 5, I'm not that easy as well. Yeah, that's generally the feedback I'm getting. Week 5 gets a lot harder, unfortunately. So like weeks 3 and 4 seem to be where like people are like getting into stride, and then I think I just basically punch people in the face with week 5, and they're like, whoa, like what happened? I was starting to get this, and now I don't really feel like maybe I missed something. And it's not you, it's really just like I think I just pushed it a little bit too fast in week 5. So I'm trying to like steady that ramp out a little bit more with the new course. So like I'm putting a little bit more in week 1 and 2, like throwing a little bit more at you because I feel like I maybe went too slow for the first course. And then 3 and 4, kind of the same pace. This is the project that we're making in 3 and 4. It's this like top-down wave-based shooter. Yeah. And then week 5 in the new course, see it says wave complete, but then another wave will start, and that's when it gets harder. Basically like week 5 in the new course, I think, is where I'm going to try to take the training wheels off again, but like a little bit slower. And one of the cool things is like with this new course is like it's all new projects. So even if you've done the other course, it's not like you're not going to get anything out of this, because it's like different stuff. So I would say like you could still do the old course. I think for the most part it holds up. I think some people have had some issues like trying to do, because we started when 5.0 came out, and I think now we're at 5.4. So if you try to do the projects in 5.0, like you can't exactly follow along, which I've had to tell people like, no, unfortunately, like you kind of have to do 5.0 if you want to follow on exactly. And if you can kind of figure things out, then you don't really need to, because it's not like that drastically different. But in 5.1 or 5.2, the new input system came out, which is like all of this stuff. And I think this is drastically different. So we cover this in the new course as well. But yeah. All right, I'm back. Sorry about the brief pause. Is it all right? Sometimes bigger steps on learning curve, good for perception of complexity after you get the concept. Yeah, so I think the idea is to like have a ramp up. Like here, I'll use this pen. Like, you know, a little bit of a ramp, and then as things. But I think what I did is like weeks 1 and 2 are basically like some really basic stuff. Week 3 and 4 we get a little bit harder, and then week 5 is like this for people, and it's just like, oh man. Learned it from other sources and implement myself. Yeah, that's you know, I'm not the only person on YouTube, obviously. There's a lot of people doing what I'm doing. My goal is really just to have like a more comprehensive course. Like I don't want to teach you just to do like one thing. I kind of want to teach you a little bit of everything, and the goal is to like get out of that tutorial loop. Like I still watch tutorials. Like I wanted to do something with VFX, and I was like, oh, I don't know how to do like this specific thing, so I had to go watch a tutorial. Hey, 3 die. I don't know. Anyway, Is it better to use interfaces or casting? What do you use instead? I use both. And there is not one that's better. They're different. They're used for different things. And I'll give you a really, let's see if we have one in this example. This is a part of the new course I'm making, so it's not quite there. So I don't actually know if I have interfaces. What I could do is load one of the other courses though. Let's load Invasion, which we make in the old course, and I'll show you some stuff. Let's see. But I can kind of talk through it, I guess, a little bit of what they do. Like why would you use one or the other? Like a little bit. And I was supposed to end at noon. I'm going a little bit over, but I'll close this out and then we can talk a little bit about some other stuff. But essentially, let's say, so here we have our player character. And actually it's a good time to talk about interfaces because we're trying to implement this inventory thing. So let's say we wanted the player to be able to pick up an item off the ground. So let's, so we have here inventory. I have this BP item, right? And then I made BP weapon, which is a child of that, and then BP rifle, which is a child of that. So let's say we have this item on the ground, and I'm just gonna put a sphere. That way we can see it. Let's make it metal. Let's use this orange metal. Kind of looks like gold if you ask me. So there's our item, right? And we want to be able to pick it up. So let's first of all set the collision to overlap all. Now, we have this begin overlap, right? So this would be like when we overlap it, we're going to call a function. And we could just test this by saying print and maybe just say I am an item. So when I overlap that, I am an item. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, little guy. But we want the player to be able to pick this up. So we could just get player character, and then we can cast it to our player character. And what this would allow us to do is, what casting does is now this BP item is acting on behalf of the player character. So it's like, it's not taking control of the character because that's something different. It's using the functionality that's in the player character to act on behalf of it. So we've got the player character, we're casting to it, which means now BP item is performing actions on behalf of player character. So if we add this BP inventory that we're making, which we were going to do anyway, so let's just do it now. And then BP inventory has an event called pickup item. We can print here and say picked up an item. And we can get access to the inventory. can say pick up item. Let's just talk through what this is doing really quick. So when the player overlaps with this item, we're going to cast to player character, which means now this item is acting on behalf of this character. We're then getting the inventory component that's on player character that we just added, and then we're calling a function on BP inventory, which is called pickup item, and that will print out. So we should now see picked up an item. Picked up an item. There we go. So that's kind of how casting works. And what we could also do is just drag this directly into here, and then we don't need this. And print not the character. One good thing about casting too is it's always going to give you this like cast failed pin that you can use for debugging. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to try to kite these enemies like over the ball, and watch, not a character. We'll print not the character, right? Not the character. Because an actor overlapped, we tried to delete the actor from the scene. Yeah, for sure. That would be part of this. And I'll show you some extra stuff that we could do, but the actor overlapped. We get what is the actor that overlapped. We try to see basically, is it the player character? If it's not, we're gonna get this error, which we did when the alien bug things overlapped. Casting can constantly tick. Casting does not constantly tick. If you have cast on tick, then it's constantly ticking, but casting does not constantly tick. That's not true. What casting does do is it binds it to this item. It binds it to this actor, which means now they're coupled, which means let's say you had a different character that you wanted to add. Like now you'd have to change this functionality if it wasn't a child of it. So that's like a little bit more than time, but casting does not constantly tick. I will show you what it does. So look, we have BP item. If we go now to BP item, and we right click, and then we go to size map, save. So this gives us a representation of how much space BP item is taking up when it's in the world. Now, if we have an instance, it's only going to take this once. There's other things where like every time you make one of these, you're making another one, so you do need to instance it correctly. But look at this. This is BP item. This is like the square. And then in here is BP character because of this cast that we have. This cast has now made it part of BP item. Now, there's arguments for and against this. One of the arguments is in a single player game where you're only ever gonna have one character, like this isn't a problem because the character is always gonna be loaded in the scene. You're never gonna have a situation where item is loaded and character is not loaded. So it's not actually a performance hit. It's just like tightly coupled, which depending on how much you care might be a problem. But this is really the only disadvantage. So one of the things that's like pretty common is to like get game mode and then cast to game mode to BP game mode. What is it called? Third person game mode, right? Because maybe you want to bind to something that's on your game mode, so you want to create a binding. Some people would say like, oh, you shouldn't do this. My argument is the game mode is always loaded. This is like part of Unreal Engine, is that you can't run a level without a game mode, without drastically rewriting the code. And if that case, that's something you're doing, don't use Unreal Engine, just write your own game engine. But my argument for this is there's always going to be a game mode, so this is not a performance hit, like ever. Yeah, because I learned. Yeah. So this could, the argument against this, I would argue, is if we ever want to have a different game mode and it's not this one, like let's say you have a game where you want different game modes based upon different conditions, this wouldn't work because you're going to try to get game mode and then cast a third person game mode, and that's not going to be the right one. So you're going to get this pin cast failed, and then you'd have to write like a different condition for each game mode in your game, which isn't sustainable. So that's the argument against it. But yeah, casting's not bad. Now interfaces, the way I explain those is like a USB, right? Like, let's look at this. We got one right here. Right. This is a USB cable. If you've never seen one, this is what it looks like. There's this is actually an iPhone charger, so it has this end too, right? Let me find a different USB cable. This is another USB cable, right? It's a little bit different. It's got this other end. If you like have a printer, this is actually for, I use it for my keyboard, but this is another common end, right? So these are both USB cables, right? And they both have different ends, and they're both used for different things. But I can plug this end into multiple things. I have a power strip that I could plug this into. I can plug it into my computer. I have a USB dock that has like 4 extra inputs I could plug it into. And so like a USB is an example of an interface. It allows one thing to connect to another thing. So I can have an interface that allows my player to connect to a gun, or I could have my player connect to like something in my level through an interface. So an interface just allows you to create a connection from one actor to another. And the benefit is the functionality is completely independent upon like what actor is on either side. So let's use a gun, for example. My player interfaces with a gun, and the player can call a function on that gun called like fire weapon or reload weapon or like whatever, right? The gun can then take that input from the player and do whatever it wants with it. So like when I plug a USB into my computer and then into my phone, the computer and the phone like they don't necessarily like need to have an interface with each other. I could also plug in my phone into the wall socket and charge it. But when I plug it into the computer, it does something differently, but it may also be charging it. So it just allows you to make a connection between two things. Unfortunately, that's pretty much the end of the stream. So I hope I didn't leave you wanting more. I do cover all of this in my course. I am going to link it again in the chat. So I do have a free Blueprints course. It's on YouTube. It's 100% free. I'm working on an updated version of that. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you can't take the old version. It is just a little bit older. It's like 2 years old now. So it's a little bit outdated. You're gonna need to start with 5.0 if you really wanna follow along step by step. I also have a Discord, which I can also link. I'm on there quite often. So if you have more questions, you can talk to me on there as well. Here's the Discord. Join the Discord, come chat. I also make announcements through there. We're doing a community game jam in July. There's information about that in the Discord. So if you want to try your hand at making a game in a game jam setting, yeah, you can check that out. I also, like, in the Discord, one of the benefits is like I'm not the only one in there now. Like, there's a lot of other people that can help out. So yeah, feel free to drop in there, check out my YouTube course, and if you haven't subscribed, do that, and that way you can know when I'm streaming again. So I'll talk to everyone later. Thanks for stopping by.